What is going on, everyone? Alex Schlinsky here for the Anti-Hustlers Weekly Show. Today, we're going to be talking about 7 SOPs to 7 figures and how you can have the best year you've ever had in 2024. As always, I'm joined by my no, I'm not. I'm here by myself today, and you're welcome for that. It's going to make it even better. Brian, I love you, and we miss you. We'll see you next week. Have a nice baby moon. For everyone else that is here with us, thank you so much for joining us today. We're always grateful for it. We're appreciative of it. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We're going to rock and roll and talk about some very important SOPs that you need for your business to grow. Now, want to make this point clear up front if you're watching this live or on replay. 2 quick things. 1, this was our Black Friday offer. It was a $97 package for 7 SOPs. I am not going to be giving away the SOPs to those of you that did not pay the $97 to get those SOPs. If you want to get them, I will open up the cart one more time for you today to get it, and then I will close it tonight at midnight, maybe tomorrow night at midnight for those of you who are watching on replay. For those of you that did purchase it, my intention of this conversation is to teach you how to actually maximize these SOPs. For those of you that did not purchase it, either 1, convince you to buy them, or 2, don't buy them, but make sure that you have these types of products and systems and operations in your business for next year. Okay, let's rock and roll. Let's do this thing. And let's make it happen. So first thing we just want to do is just touch on what the actual SOPs are, right? Now, in the way that I've identified how to run a business, the easiest way that I've found it is to simplify. So here's what I'd recommend that you do if you're watching this with me for a second today, if you're here with me today. I'd consider closing your eyes for a second. Don't worry, nothing weird's going to happen. I just think it's worthwhile to consider this while I express this to you, okay? Close your eyes for a second. I'll do it with you, okay? If you close your eyes for a second and you imagine you're inside a room, it's a white room, there's no windows at all, okay? The wall in front of you has levers upon levers upon levers, all of which can be turned off or on or pulled or whatever it may be, right? And you're looking at all of these, okay? And immediately you feel a sense of overwhelm and dread because you look at all these levers and you identify there's no possible way, 1, that I could pull all the levers, 2, that I know which levers to pull, or 3, right? Which one's going to actually make the most impact in my life? Now, here's the thing. In this room that you're envisioning with all these levers, one of the levers just starts shining. So you run over to it like a squirrel to an acorn. So, of course, you pull that lever. Oh, and then look over there and to the left, and there's another lever shining so brightly, and you run over there. And then there's another, and there's another, and there's another. Now you can open your eyes. What's the metaphor? This is what it's like running a business, a marketing agency, a coaching program, a freelance job, a website design company, an SEO company, a SaaS business, any of those types of businesses. This is what it feels like. There's so many things in the life and business to do at all times, right? We're not even talking about levers related to, responsibilities as a husband or wife, responsibilities as a son or daughter, responsibilities as a friend, responsibilities to yourself, to your children. All of those levers are completely different from all the levers in your business. There are literally hundreds of thousands of levers to pull. When I talk about levers, I'm talking about, what new prospecting strategy should I consider? Did I follow up with that prospect appropriately? Did I do, the base camp task that I had? Did I pay my team on the right time? Did I do the things that I was required to do in my cold email setup, right? There's so much at all times that is making it so hard to identify how to actually move forward and identify what levers to pull. And so what I wanted to do today was show you how to simplify that greatly. So if you think about this metaphor again, and you're inside this room, closing your eyes or opening it, either way, what I want to do is show you how to make it just 3 levers. Makes it a lot easier when it's just 3 levers. So here's what we're going to do. You turn around in that room. So on one side of the wall is all the levers, but on the other side, there's a door. And you open that door. And now, once you close that door and you're on the other side of the room, there's just 3 levers. And here's the 3 levers. Prospecting, sales, and fulfillment. Now, I want to clarify, when we oversimplify a business into those 3 levers, that doesn't mean we are automatically throwing out other things that are really important, like operational management, team organization, right? Those things are still really important, but for this sake, these are the levers I'd be considerate of. Some people will further those 2 levers and simplify them into client acquisition and client fulfillment. I think that's a little too broad in my opinion, but any way that you want to simplify the levers is fine with me. This is the 80-20 principle in action. For those of you that don't know the 80-20 principle, it's a Pareto principle. The concept is very simple. What 20% of my effort is delivering 80% of my results, right? When people hear that, it becomes a very challenging thing to understand and compartmentalize, which is why I share this metaphor. Instead of 20,000, 100,000 levers, there's 3. Prospecting, which is booking calls, closing, right? Sales, which is actually converting prospects into clients, and then client fulfillment, which is delivering upon the service, right? If we simplify our business to those 3 things, it allows us to compartmentalize what we need to work on. And that was the entire intention of not only this training, but the Black Friday offer of these 7 SOPs. So what I put together is the most important SOPs that I have found for each of these 3. Now, whether you purchased them already, which I really appreciate, thank you, or you did not purchase, which is totally fine and your prerogative, right? You're going to get insight on what you need to do for your business in December in order to ensure that in 2024, you have the best year yet without being distracted. That's the key. If this all makes sense to you, I'd love for you to just drop a 1 in the chat. Make sure that this is leveraging, the insight that you're looking for. And I'm going to share the SOPs with you now. Let's dive in. So let's touch on first as an overall understanding of what each of these SOPs are. Okay. The first one, and they're not in any specific order, just for clarity. They're not in order of importance. I just put all 7 up here. Okay. The first one is the one call close frames cheat sheet. Now, if you've ever followed me before or watched any of my content, seen me on YouTube, seen me at events, been to our events, been in this Facebook group for a while, you probably know that I'm the one call close guy. That's kind of my thing. That's what I coach mostly. I do sales coaching quite a bit. That's kind of the thing that I'm known for, right? Now, the one call close is just a process of having an organized sales formula. We're going to come back and talk about it more, but this falls into the sales bucket. Okay. The red, yellow, green client audit is a formatted process, okay, a call agenda to ensure for your clients that you can get a testimonial, feedback, referral, or upsell. This is the most effective SOP to possibly have for client fulfillment and retention. Number 3. Speaking of client fulfillment and retention, the client retention and LTV optimization is a great prompt for you to consider how to ensure that your clients are having a satisfied experience working with you. And if they're not, optimizing it. We're going to talk about this in more detail on each one of these. The AI prospecting machine obviously falls into the prospecting lever. It's important that you have multiple methods of generating leads. We've said this many times on this show. And again, we do this show every single Thursday at 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Every single time we run this show, we talk about the importance of ensuring that you not only have an outbound system, but also an inbound system. So we shared 2 really important outbound systems. Everyone wants to be on the cutting edge with AI. We actually did an entire training for free in this group on this AI prospecting engine. So you can go check it out. I'm going to show the other one also right here, which is the email outreach machine. Very similar, but just 2 different ones. Whichever one you want to implement is key. I would also strongly recommend that you are implementing an ads system as well. That is not part of today's training. The next one is sales objections and counteractions. When you deal with objections in your sales calls, how do you deal with them? This is how you deal with them. I give you every single frame of what you need to do for about 35 objections. Okay. And then lastly, the sales system optimization SOP. How to ensure that you're actually optimizing your process for the overall sales system, not just individual calls. Okay. These are all 7 of the SOPs broken down into prospecting, sales, and fulfillment. Now, if you want them, I will drop the link for you in the channel here, not only in Zoom, but also on Facebook. But I'm going to actually teach you about each of them first, regardless of whether or not you already purchased them or you will never purchase them. Let's talk about the one call close. All right. Now, the one call close is critically important in my opinion. Now, regardless of whether or not you will do the one call close or not, understanding the importance of having a sales framework is key. If right now in your business, you are just randomly selling, meaning you are selling random products, you are randomly communicating with the people you're speaking to, and there's no actual formatted formula, documented process for sales, you must make one. Either you invest into this package or you figure it out yourself, but it's critically important that you do it. And here's how you can do it yourself if you don't buy this. Now, if you don't buy this, what you're going to do is audit one of your sales calls and start identifying what needs to happen. In order to benefit all of you best, I'm going to share with you a very simple sales framework. In the SOP, I have Loom videos for every single frame, but what I'll do here is just share with you in 3 frames how to sell, okay? Really easy. The first thing you're going to do on every call is identify the reason for someone being on that call. The more clarity you have as someone giving you their time and understanding why time is the most valuable asset we have, not money, ultimately you're able to use that as leverage in the conversation to sell them. The more clarity someone has in a communication and a call with you, the more ability you have to ensure that your product is the best fit for them. The second thing that you want to do on the call is understanding the 4 W's. The 4 W's is a simple bridge concept for qualification. The simple bridge concept for qualification is you are here, you want to go there, the obstacle is this, and the urgency is this. The easiest way to remember this, the easiest way is just think about it like a bridge. If you are on 2 different sides of a cliff, and the only way to go from cliff A to cliff B is through a bridge, but the bridge is gone, that's sales qualification. You are on one side of the cliff, you want to go to the other side of the cliff, there is an obstacle because there's no bridge, but how fast do you want to go to the other side of the cliff? Here's an example. Let's use a restaurant, okay? The restaurant currently sees 250 customers per month. They want to see 500 customers per month. The biggest problem is that they don't have effective marketing to do so, and they're based off referrals strictly. In terms of how fast they need to go from 250 to 500, they really need this before the end of Q1 2024 because they want to actually increase the franchise model and they want to make sure that they're going to be profitable. That is the second thing you want to be considerate of in your calls. And the last thing that you want to be considerate of your call is leveraging those 4 W's to tell your prospect it's the right fit. Tim, based on everything you told me today, I am very confident that our Dine Line blah, blah, blah product that's $2,500 a month is a no-brainer for you to get you from the 250 to 500 clients. That is an overall sales framework. If you want more details, for those of you that purchased it, go through this document in detail. It covers every single thing, and the Loom videos give you a breakdown of actually how to do the cheat sheet frame, right? All you got to do is just listen to what it says. So happy that you jumped on the call with me. I really appreciate it. That's all. Not that hard. Don't overcomplicate it. The magic of the one call close is combining qualification and closing. Too often in the industry, whether you're selling SaaS, marketing, coaching product, or anything in between, right? Too often what I see is people doing qualifying conversations, then scheduling a second call to do a demo. How many people on this call do that? I would love to know. Does anyone do a 2-call close? Drop a 2 if you're doing a 2-call close. I would love to know. Okay, cool. We got a few of you. It's a highly ineffective methodology when you consider our most valuable asset, which is our time. People complain about no-shows all the time, right? Well, imagine if you do a great qualification conversation, but then they no-show you on the second call. It's terrible, right? No one wants that experience. No one wants that experience. So how do we fix that? Implementing the 1-call close. That's the model, okay? Now, again, you could either invest in the actual SAM card, or the bundle, or you can just do it yourself. But it's really, really important. It's really important that you actually develop a sales process. Now, for those of you that actually want the bundle that didn't get it yet, I will drop it here for you in just a second so you can go forward and actually get it. But before that, I want to continue with the next SOP. Let's talk a little bit more about the red, yellow, green client audit, okay? Now, the red, yellow, green client audit is absolutely critical to your success with retention. Now, everyone wants to get more testimonials. Everyone wants to get more referrals. Everyone wants to get better feedback, and everyone wants to upsell their clients. Now, I'm going to share with you a very simple way to do that. Now, the agenda breaks it down into more detail, but it's also pretty easy to understand even without the agenda, frankly, okay? When you consider that there's three statuses that your clients are likely in, it's they're red, meaning they're going to leave. Yellow, it's kind of shaky, they're not happy. And green, they're in good standing. Okay. When someone is red, the best thing you can do is try to understand why they are dissatisfied and want to leave. And can we save them? If we cannot save a client, getting feedback from that client so we learn from it for the next one is key. You have to think about your business in a bigger picture. You're going to lose clients. I lose clients. No matter how good you are at your business, you will lose clients, period. That doesn't indicate that you're a bad business owner. It just means you're a business owner. That's all, right? So it's really, really important that you understand this consideration, because ultimately, if you just get in your feelings about losing a client, but then don't optimize for that, you're going to lose the client for the same reason. What I do in my coaching is I explain to my clients, like, losing a client's okay. Losing a client for the exact same reason that you lost a client 3 months ago is not okay. Do you get what I just said? The only way to know why you lost a client is putting on your big girl and big boy pants and asking. And yes, it's uncomfortable. And yes, it sucks. And yes, you won't be happy about it. And yeah, you might get chewed out by the client even, but it's still necessary. You don't necessarily need my agenda to tell you how to do it. But if you have the agenda, obviously it's a lot easier to do. Anyone that is in yellow, which is very subjective, right? A yellow indication is like you either feel that they're not good, they kind of share that they might not be satisfied, right? Red and green are a lot less subjective, right? Red is someone saying, you know, Duncan, I'm done, right? Green is someone saying, you know, Duncan, I'm really happy. Yellow is kind of in between. You may think they're not good. You may think they're okay. All you have to do is do what? Ask. If someone is yellow, the intention and goal is to get them to green. By getting them to green, you're identifying, you know, hey, I'm not really certain how you feel about the product right now. I really want to make sure you're happy and satisfied. It's very important to me. What are you hoping for from this? Can you tell me how I can make this a great experience for you if we haven't? Now, someone might tell you, Jeremy, no, you're reading it all wrong. You're great. Everything's good. Okay, good. They're green. They might say, you know, man, it would be really helpful if you can give me more understanding about the attribution of what you're doing, because I feel at a loss. That feedback is critical to your success. That's how you make yellow clients green. And not just one yellow client, all your yellow clients. The green clients are where you can get testimonials, where you can get upsells, and where you can get good feedback too. You want to optimize for the things that are consistent, and referrals too. Now, there's one thing I forgot to mention on the yellow that I just want to say one more time. It's not just feedback that we're looking for. It's also potential upsells, right? If someone tells Tim, hey, you know, I do in general like the product, but, you know, I feel like just having Facebook ads is kind of limiting me, and that's making me question whether this is good. And what this client doesn't know, but Tim does, is that Tim can upsell this client Google ads that he has. Again, I'm not saying or recommending that you have the upsells. I'm just leveraging it based off what you may already have. Because now you can say, oh, I guess you didn't know this, but we actually do offer this as a service. Do you want to talk about that? And now you're in an upsell conversation. This agenda and SOP, again, it's pretty intuitive, right? Like, you don't necessarily have to have this document to be able to execute it. But if you do, please go through this document, review it, get through it. Okay? This is valuable for you guys. Please drop a 7 in the chat. I want to know it's worthwhile. For those of you that do want the bundle, it's, again, $97. You could just get it in the link below or on the Facebook group. But again, zero pressure on that. Let's talk about client retention, all right, and optimization. Now, overall, there's this concept of experience is not enough, but evaluated experience is key. Has anyone heard of this before? Experience is not enough, evaluated experience is key. The framework is pretty easy to understand, right? People oftentimes in life, not just in business, in life, will go through an experience, not journal upon it or think deeply on it or get prompted by it, but just experience it, right? And then they think that they're going to glean as much insight as possible. Now, think of it back to high school, and I'm sorry if I'm triggering any of you on this, okay? Did anyone read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in high school? When I was in high school, I remember reading it, and I asked my teacher something, because at that time, I was not bought into the idea of evaluated experience. You know, we were reading the book, and they're talking about metaphors and allegories and how this is effective for your life, and I'm just reading it thinking, like, this is so dumb. Like, why are we overthinking this? Same with Romeo and Juliet. Yes, I'm clearly putting myself out there that I was not as intelligent as I am when I was in high school. But in general, it's important to hear this, right? I was like, why? Why does this matter? And my teacher had this incredible explanation of saying, like, by understanding thematic processes, by understanding allegories and metaphors, not only can you use a shared experience from this author, but you can evaluate your own experiences in a different lens. And as soon as that was expressed, I actually understood the purpose of diving more into literary narratives. And now, as an adult, just simply for passion, I am absolutely fascinated by understanding literary works. I'm a published author, right? And I explain in the book why I wrote these things. I love watching movies and understanding why the director framed the shot in that way, or shared this exposition in a certain way, or colored the shot in a certain way. I love that because it's an evaluation of the experience, not just the experience. And the way in which I'm learning from that is way deeper if I'm evaluating it versus not. Now, the best way to evaluate things is by being prompted. Now, the problem with people when they're like, okay, I get it. Like, I want to evaluate, right? I want to evaluate my client retention process, but I don't know what to ask. So I'm going to share with you just a little bit of it here today, okay? Let's use like the offer as an example, okay? So we're going to audit 1 to 3 of our longest retained clients versus 1 to 3 of our clients that retain for the shortest amount of time. So right now in your business, you might have a client that's worked with you for 2 years, and you might have just had a client cancel that only worked with you for 2 months. Was the offer the same for the retained client versus the canceled client? What was the key factor in your clients canceling? Have you optimized your offer fulfillment to ensure this obstacle is resolved? What has been the key factor in retaining your longest tenured clients? Have you optimized your offer fulfillment to ensure you double down on retention? This type of SOP, not only is it for onboarding and retention, but it's the same exact thing for your sales system. Write down, okay, the number one reason you believe a client purchased from you in your last 10 sales. Write down the number one reason the prospect did not purchase from you. Prompting yourself with evaluated experience prompts kind of feels like you're going back to high school and college a little bit, but what it will allow you to do is evaluate your experiences better to optimize your systems. This is how you pull levers that actually make a difference in your business. Now, the problem is, especially in sales particularly, if you're not auditing anything you're doing in your sales conversations, you're just kind of doing it over and over. You're not auditing your calls. You're not considering why someone bought from you. You're not thinking about the objections you're consistently seeing. You're just going call by call by call. The growth curve that you will have is so much smaller than the person that is auditing. You will grow infinitely greater rate. Now, it's obviously a fake metric, of course, but you get the point. Right? If you actually do the auditing and really think through what's happening, good and bad, in your sales system as a whole, versus just, well, yeah, I kind of remember in the last call I got this objection. Instead of practicing how to deal with it, you're not going to have a great experience. And that's why evaluated experience matters. You really need to do this. Again, if you have the documents and SOPs, it's going to make it obviously a lot easier because I already did the work for you. But you don't need the SOPs to do this yourself, right? You can just audit your calls. Again, the SOPs will help you, but you can just audit your calls. In that exact same vein, right? The sales objection counteractions is a perfect example, again, of evaluating experiences. If you keep getting the objection of, I need to talk to my wife and partner about this, but you don't really know how you're handling it, or if you're handling it the same way in every call, or your validity rate, meaning like how successful you are in overcoming it, are you really actually making any progress at all? Now, I know I'm alarming a lot of you because the reality is most people don't do evaluated experiences. And so when you're listening to this, you're like, oh my God, dude, I'm literally have no idea. I know I've heard the, can you send me a proposal objection 100 times in the last 2 years, and I've never audited how I've handled it. It's okay. But here's the thing now that you know. I'm going to hit you with a bar. Prepare yourself. What you are not changing, you are choosing. What you are not changing, you are choosing. And guys, to be real with you for a sec, outside of business, this goes way, way deeper. Okay. I want to be the best dad possible. I want to be the best husband possible. The only way to do that is by clarifying and identifying what I want and then evaluating what discrepancies there are. If I am not purposely changing and evaluating in order to be a better father, in order to be a better husband, in order to be a better leader, in order to be a better man, then I am choosing that. It might not be explicit choosing, but I'm still choosing it. And this is where cognitive dissonance comes for human beings, not just in business, but in life. Because they want something so bad, so tangibly, and they want to be a certain way, but they don't know why they're not. And here's the key, guys. It's just deep work. It's just deep work. I spoke to my therapist about how bad I want to be a better father. And the therapist asked me, what do you want to be? Like, what's the ideal father you want to be? I didn't actually have the answer. And that's why there's a dissonance. Because of course you can't achieve something that you don't have clarity on. Now, I know we went a little bit off script related to like business stuff, but I think the theory is still important. You want to be better at handling objections? Well, how do you currently handle them? I don't know. How are you currently practicing them? I'm not. Imagine trying to be a professional basketball team, but you don't practice. The only way you get better is by playing the game. Do you think that's going to be a good professional basketball team? No. No. They're going to be the Detroit Pistons, the worst team in the league. Okay? And thankfully, I'm not a Detroit Pistons fan. Big time Miami Heat fan. Big time. They practice. This is evaluated experience. This is why it matters so much. Okay? Let's talk about the last two here, which are prospecting. Okay? So we've spent time already talking about sales levers and SOPs. We've talked about fulfillment levers and SOPs, and the through line of all of it, which is, right, evaluation of the experience, auditing, and identifying how to use and lever these SOPs in order to succeed more in 2024, right? The last two are ensuring that you have the top of the funnel handled. Inherently, right, you can only have one bottleneck at a time because of a linear process of business. So if we talk about a linear process of prospecting, sales, fulfillment, think of it this way. It's pretty easy, right? You cannot sell, let's redo it, sorry. You cannot deliver a product for someone that you haven't sold. You cannot sell someone that has not a call booked. That's why it's linear. So if you say, Alex, I have a sales problem, and I say, how many calls are you booking? And you say 3 a month, you don't have a sales problem. You have a prospecting problem. And that's why having a prospecting SOP is so important. Now, there's two different ones that we've provided for you. They're all very self-explanatory. So if you've purchased it already, all you have to do is literally just go through the SOP. It breaks down for you every single thing that you have to do to leverage this. And Brian did a training on it in this Facebook group, probably like 2 months ago or so. The same exact thing with the cold email. My recommendation for every single person on this call is whether or not you're implementing LinkedIn or cold email or AI or direct mail or in-person or events or ads, you must have a documented process for that so you can optimize it, evaluate it, and see what the results are. Not just try it for a week and then it doesn't work and then move on. Those type of spinning wheels is why you are stuck. Period. Period. You must have a process. Now, again, I will remind you, as I said at the front end of the call, every single person I work with, I always recommend having at least one outbound process and for sure investing into advertising. That was what I had for y'all today. If anyone has any questions for me, please feel free to ask. If you want access to these SOPs, I will drop in the chat for you once again. The link, it's $97 for the Black Friday deal. There's no upsell or like anything like that at all. We'll have a team member for sure reach out to you to see how we can provide you with additional training or support to help you, but there's no like ulterior motive here. You can buy them or not. It's all good either way. And if you did, I am super grateful and appreciate you. And I really hope you leverage them. Please use them. I work really hard on this to make sure this is extremely valuable for you. I care about this. I care about this. So hope this was worthwhile. Jeremy, huge thank you to you for pulling that out. Jeremy pulled out the AI prospecting training. I will drop that for y'all in the Facebook group as well. So if any of you are watching on Facebook, I just dropped the AI prospecting training where you can watch Brian kind of go through the whole thing, which he did an amazing job for. Brian, we missed you on today's session. That's what I have. I'm going to end the recording.